All right, let's dive into something pretty awesome. We're going to be talking about dogs and mental health. I mean, who doesn't love a good dog story, right?
Right. And we're going deeper than just dogs make us happy.
Exactly. We're talking the how and why dogs are so good for our minds.
We'll be looking at an article from Signature Health Hub. It's called The Correlation Between Dogs and Improved Mental Health.
So I was reading how dogs can boost those feel-good brain chemicals,
Mhm.
like dopamine, serotonin.
Oh, yeah, and oxytocin?
Right, those. Oh, could you break those down a little more? Like, how do those chemicals actually work, especially when we're talking about mental health?
Well, think of dopamine as your brain's reward system. Like when you do something you enjoy, boom, dopamine.
It makes you want to do more of it.
Exactly. And when it comes to depression, where you might not feel much joy,
That dopamine boost from a dog could be huge.
yeah, it's like a little reminder from your brain saying, hey, this feels good, let's keep this up.
Love that. Okay, so then what about serotonin? I know it affects mood, but how's that tied to dogs?
So, serotonin, it helps regulate your mood, but also sleep and even appetite, and low serotonin.
That's when you see depression and anxiety pop up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's really cool is studies have shown that being around dogs actually increases serotonin.
So it's not just us feeling good, the dogs are benefiting too.
It's a two-way street, a real exchange of good vibes. Chemically speaking, of course.
That makes total sense. Okay, last one, oxytocin, the love hormone, right?
Right. It gets released when we bond, whether it's a romantic partner, a friend, or your dog.
Ah, so it is the same oxytocin, whether it's from human interaction or...
It is.
Yeah.
But with dogs, it seems to tap into the same brain pathways we use for parental love.
So we're literally wired to care for them like they're our kids.
In a way, yes. Which makes sense why we get so attached.
And get this, the article said even just looking into a dog's eyes releases oxytocin. That's wild.
It shows how powerful nonverbal communication is.
Yeah,
Eye contact builds trust,
totally.
and dogs have evolved to be experts at reading our expressions.
So the loving gaze back and forth.
It's actually triggering all these reactions in both of you,
It's like a secret language of chemicals.
pretty much.
But it's not all cuddles and staring contests. The article also talked about how dogs can make us healthier, like actually getting us to move more.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Dogs need walks, they need to play.
So we get off the couch too.
Exactly. And exercise has a huge impact on mental health. NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Health.
They talk about that all the time.
Yeah, they say exercise can really reduce stress, help you sleep better, and even help with depression and anxiety.
It's like having a personal trainer who loves you unconditionally.
Pretty much. But even getting up to walk the dog can feel like a chore sometimes.
Oh, tell me about it. Some days that couch is calling my name.
Well, it's about consistency, but it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Like even a short walk is better than no walk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And routine is key, even if it's just a quick one around the block. Having that structure, getting you moving,
It can really make a difference.
big time.
Okay, so we've talked about moving more, but what about stress? I mean, we all deal with it. How can dogs help with that?
There's this study from ScienceDaily.com, the article mentioned it. It found that just 10 minutes of petting a dog
Seriously, only 10 minutes.
can significantly lower cortisol levels.
Cortisol, that's the stress hormone, right?
It is. It gets released when we're stressed to prepare us for fight or flight.
Makes sense.
But if cortisol levels are high all the time,
That's not good.
nope, they can lead to anxiety, depression, even sleep problems.
So petting a dog is like a natural chill pill.
Exactly. It releases endorphins, those mood boosters, and it lowers your heart rate, blood pressure.
Wow, I never realized just petting them could do all that.
It's pretty powerful. So next time you're feeling stressed, try a little dog therapy. It
Mhm.
might be the best medicine.
I'll definitely be trying that. But some dogs do more than just being our buddies. The article talked about therapy dogs.
Yeah, therapy dogs are trained to provide support in all kinds of situations.
That's incredible. Like what kinds of situations?
Well, they can help people with mental disabilities, children with ADHD or autism, veterans with PTSD.
Wow, so many people who can benefit. What do they actually do?
They provide comfort and security. They help reduce anxiety. Like
Right.
for someone with PTSD,
Just having that calm presence could be huge.
exactly. And they can even help with physical therapy, like motivating someone during exercises.
So it's not just emotional support.
They help with physical and cognitive challenges too. And the amazing thing is, they often seem to just know what people need.
Really?
Yeah, they pick up on those subtle cues and adjust their behavior. It's pretty remarkable to see. It really is amazing how dogs can help us in so many ways. And it's not just about the cuddles and playtime. The article also talked about how they can help us be more social,
Mm.
especially for people who might be a little shy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've always been a bit introverted myself, but ever since I got my dog, it's like people just come up and talk to me all the time.
It's like they're little furry magnets for social interaction. And you're right, it's not just about being approachable. They actually help break down those social barriers. The article called it,
Social buffers.
yeah, social buffers. Dogs can make us feel more comfortable in social situations. And, even those small interactions can make a big difference.
Totally. Like just chatting with someone at the dog park or on a walk. It can really brighten your day.
It really can. And NAI, the National Alliance on Mental Health, talks about how important face-to-face interaction is, especially for folks dealing with depression.
So even those little chats, maybe they start because of the dog?
They could still have a positive impact on our mood and sense of belonging.
It's like dogs are these little social catalysts bringing people together.
I like that, social catalyst. That's a good one. And, it's not just about socializing. Having a dog also brings a certain amount of structure and routine to your life, which can be a really good thing, mentally speaking.
Oh, absolutely. Having to walk them, feed them, play with them.
It gives you a framework for your day.
Yeah, and those responsibilities, they might seem small, but they can be really grounding, especially if you're struggling with things like depression or anxiety.
The article talked about that too, how important routine can be for mental well-being.
It's like having a furry little alarm clock and personal trainer all rolled into one.
Exactly.
Mm.
And speaking of responsibility, caring for a dog can also do wonders for your self-esteem.
Right, because you're needed. There's a living being that depends on you.
It gives you a sense of purpose, a feeling that you matter. The article really emphasized that.
And honestly, that feeling of unconditional love from a dog, that's got to be healing for anyone, especially if you're struggling with self-worth.
It's true. That kind of love and acceptance can make a world of difference.
I know for me, it's just so grounding. To have that furry friend who's always happy to see you no matter what.
They just have this way of bringing us back to the present moment, don't they?
They really do. And
Mm-mm.
sometimes that's all we need to just be present and appreciate the simple things.
Like a walk in the park, a game of fetch.
Or a good belly rub.
Exactly. But, as much as we're talking about the science behind all of this,
Yeah.
I think there's also a bit of a mystery to the bond between humans and dogs.
Oh, for sure. It's hard to explain, but anyone who's ever loved a dog just gets it.
It's that feeling you get when they greet you at the door, tail wagging, so excited to see you.
That's like pure joy, right?
Pure joy. And it's more than just having someone to cuddle with on the couch.
It's having a companion who truly understands you.
Someone who listens without judgment. That unconditional love can have such a profound impact on our well-being.
It really can. But it's important to remember it's a two-way street.
Oh, absolutely. Dogs need us just as much as we need them.
They thrive on our love and care.
Exactly. It's a partnership, and like any good partnership, it takes work. The article made a point of emphasizing responsible dog ownership.
That's so important because it's a big commitment bringing a dog into your life.
It really is. You need to be honest with yourself about the time you can dedicate, the resources you have.
Yeah, you have to think about their needs as much as your own.
Right. It's not a decision to make lightly, but if you're ready for that commitment,
The rewards are incredible.
absolutely. And even if you're not ready to be a dog owner right now, there are still so many ways to experience that human-animal bond.
Like what?
Volunteering at a shelter, fostering a dog, even just spending time with friends' dogs.
Those are all great options.
There's a place for everyone, no matter your circumstances. The important thing is to be open to that connection, to the joy and healing that dogs can bring into our lives.
I love that. So, as we keep exploring this amazing connection between dogs and mental health,
What stands out to you the most?
well, we've talked about the science, the emotional benefits, the social aspects, the responsibility.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but it's all fascinating. And I think it all comes down to one simple thing: awareness.
Awareness of how dogs can impact our lives.
Exactly. And once we're aware of that, we can start to make choices that support our mental well-being, whether that's getting a dog, volunteering at a shelter, or simply being more mindful of the dogs we encounter in our everyday lives.
Beautifully said. And I think that's a perfect place to pause for now.
Wow. I mean, there's so much to think about, right?
It really is amazing how much we're learning about this connection between humans and dogs.
I'm already starting to think differently about my own dog, but I bet our listeners are wondering, now what? Like, we've got all this info, but what do we do with it?
I think the biggest takeaway is just awareness. Now that we understand how dogs can impact our mental health, we can make choices that help.
So it's about being intentional, knowing that spending time with your dog can actually reduce stress.
Exactly. Or if you're feeling down, maybe volunteering at a shelter could lift your spirits.
Makes sense. So it's not just about having a dog. It's about how we approach that relationship.
It's about recognizing those moments of connection and how they make us feel. Maybe it's that feeling of calm after a walk with your dog.
Or maybe it's the joy of seeing a dog's tail wag when you come home.
It's those little things that can really add up.
But what if someone isn't ready for a dog? I mean, it is a big commitment,
Absolutely. And that's okay. There are still ways to benefit from those interactions.
like we talked about before. Volunteering, fostering.
Even just spending time with friends who have dogs. It doesn't have to be all or nothing.
There's a way for everyone to experience that human-animal bond.
Exactly. And I think that's pretty powerful.
It really is. So as we wrap up this deep dive into dogs and mental health, what's the one thing you'd want our listeners to remember?
I think it's simple. Pay attention. Notice the dogs in your life. Observe how they interact with people. And be open to how they might be impacting you, even in small ways.
Beautifully said. It's been an amazing conversation. And for our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.